My name is Emily. I married my husband, whom I met at a mixer during college at 22, and it's been 8 years already. We both love our jobs and don't have kids yet. We do think about having kids someday. Instead, we wanted to work as much as possible while we can still work full-time. Both of us were busy with work, and while we didn't live completely separate lives, we often worked late. Being together since college for 12 years, we weren't exactly in the mood to work diligently on baby making every night. Currently, we live in New York, but my husband plans to take over their family business in the future, so it's settled that we'll move to his hometown in the countryside. I've agreed to this as well. Of course, I felt impatient about my age and thought it was time to think about it. But for now, I just wanted to prioritize my life as a career woman in the city. I get along with my husband's parents, and I just had a phone call with my Phil recently. Normally, they would be pestering me about having kids, but instead, he always says, "Emily, our son can be quite a handful, right? Thanks for taking care of him." I felt that even if we moved to my husband's rural hometown in the future, I could get along with his parents. So, for now, I was all set to fully enjoy my urban life and career. Then one day, when I returned home from work as usual, my husband was home earlier than me, which was unusual. Even when I had to work overtime, I would be home by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. at the latest, including time for grocery shopping. But there were times when my husband would come home after midnight, so I couldn't help but say, "Oh, this is unusual, isn't it?" That day, I did some shopping at the supermarket and got home at 8 p.m. It's rare for my husband to be home at this time. Also, the atmosphere was gloomy, and he sat silently on the sofa, looking down. I wondered if something had happened. Even when I said, "I'm home," he didn't respond. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I tried asking him a few times, but when he didn't respond, I decided to start preparing dinner. We rarely ate dinner together except on special occasions, but I always prepared something light so it was ready whenever he got home. I pride myself on being a good wife, if I do say so myself. The day's menu was miso soup, fried chicken, vegetables in black vinegar sauce, and blanched greens. I'm used to quick cooking, so I whipped it up in no time. Dinner's ready. Thinking about it, it's been quite a while since we had dinner together. My husband was silently putting food in his mouth. Hey, his silence throughout dinner was creepy. I began to worry. Something is off. Could it be an affair? Or did he get fired? Or is he sick and feeling unwell? Worried, I put down my eating utensils and asked, "What's the matter with you being so quiet? If something happened, tell me. If you have something to say, just say it," I urged him in a firm tone. Then, with a reluctant look, he finally opened up.
"Well, there's something I need to ask."
"What?" I thought he was going to say something bad. "But it's just a favor." I felt relieved, thinking I could handle a request unless it was something very serious.
"You have your family's place in the countryside, right?"
"Yes, the countryside." I was surprised he suddenly brought up my family's home. Then he said something shocking.
"Actually, my father's business has accrued some debt."
"What? Your father's business?" My Phil runs a big printing company. The family business employs dozens of people, and my husband's family is considered a prominent household in their rural town.
"Could we use your family's home as collateral?"
"What did you say?" I didn't know how to respond to such a sudden request. My father is a regular salaried employee, and my mother works part-time. My sister works as a nurse at a local hospital, and somehow the three of them live a modest life. I can understand why my family's home should be used as collateral for my husband's family's sake.
No offense, but your family's home is unlike mine, just ordinary, right?
What does he mean by ordinary compared to his home? Indeed, compared to my husband's family, who runs a large company locally. Ours is just a normal household.
Actually, my family's business is in a bit of a bind right now. Without help, we'll default for the second time, leading to bankruptcy. We urgently need a loan of $500,000.
I was shocked by the amount. But what my husband said next was even more astonishing.
Our family runs a special business lineage, but yours is just a common family after all. Taking a risk won't matter much. Even if something happens, you can just rent an apartment and live there. Besides, everyone in your family works, right? They can manage somehow.
What?
There's a level difference between your family and mine. It's different if my family gets a scratch or if your family tilts a bit. Sorry, but think of me and just do as I say.
Do you even realize what you're saying? Ignoring me, my husband continued.
I hate to say it, but I could have married someone of a higher status, like a rich man's daughter, instead of you.
What are you talking about?
Yet, I married a regular woman like you, which should make you feel special, right? You're riding on my coattails. You should be grateful that you could marry a man like me, so just listen to me in times like this.
Indeed, my parents blessed our marriage, knowing he was the only son of a business owner. But they also felt he was out of our league, saying, "It seems like a mismatch for our family." However, I didn't marry him with the intention of climbing the social hierarchy. We both loved reading and met in a book club. We got married because we got along well. Yet, deep down, I never thought it would come to this. His verbal abuse just got worse and worse.
First off, why is your sister still living at your parents' house? She's a nurse, right? She should just get married and move out. A couple can live just fine in a rented apartment, especially in the countryside where it's cheaper.
That's enough, I finally snapped. That house is an inheritance from my grandparents, and my parents worked hard to build it while raising us. Are you saying it's okay whatever happens to it? But my husband was no longer listening.
Look, I don't care about all that. Stop with the drama. What about working while raising us sisters? We were never a match from the start.
Here.
You know, back in my youth, I got carried away with love and ended up choosing you, but I should have been more realistic. We both work now, but if I'd married someone of a higher status, I might have had support from her family and you could have been a stay-at-home wife.
Wait, are you belittling me because I work?
And clinging to a mediocre company, not even a top-tier one, looks kind of pathetic. Do you even see yourself lately? You're always busy with work. I don't even know what kind of work you do just to bring home a meager salary, rushing around from morning. You even cut your hair short. You used to be cute when we met because you were young, but now you've lost all your charm.
Why does the conversation about using my family home as collateral lead to bad-mouthing my family and even criticizing my appearance? No matter how upset he is about his family's business, this is just taking his anger out on me. Yet, he still continues.
Some say working women are attractive, but not you. A woman who lives a leisurely and elegant life like my mother is far better, more refined.
Why would you even go there? I couldn't tolerate my husband's complete denigration of me anymore.
For now, if you don't want a divorce, you will let me use your family's home as collateral. I'm still young, and I have the right to choose another woman. I'm the one who will be rising in my career. Plus, I'll be the company president locally in the future. If you don't want to be left behind, just do as I say.
The man spewing abuse in front of me was no longer the husband I knew. I had no idea he was such a horrible man.
It's better for the future if my family is saved rather than yours.
I was shocked to realize that this might be his true self, hidden behind his usually quiet demeanor, which at times seemed inscrutable. Inside me, something finally snapped. A few days later, "Hey, what's the update about what I asked you?" My husband asked in the morning. I haven't spoken to him since then. Whether he's starting to panic, or because he's revealed his true self as an utterly unreasonable, demanding husband after speaking his mind, his attitude remained arrogantly unchanged. "I'll give you my answer tonight." Hearing that, my husband left the house first. I signed all the necessary parts of the divorce papers I got from the city office, stamped them, and left them on the dining table before leaving the house. That night, "Hey, what is this? What do you mean by this?" Perhaps expecting me to agree to use my family home as collateral. My husband had come home earlier than me that day. He was stunned to see the divorce papers on the table. "As you can see," I replied coolly.
What do you think you're doing? This isn't the time for such nonsense. I told you my family's business is in trouble. Are you really that stupid?
I calmly ignored him calling me stupid. It pains my heart that my FIL's company is in trouble. However, I couldn't forgive him for expressing his true feelings. Spurred in the situation, a regular woman like you and I should have married a richer man's daughter. To think that he kept such thoughts while carrying on with our married life as if everything was fine. Also, I just realized that he usually comes home late, yet he managed to return early when it mattered. I had never noticed or even considered it. But perhaps he had affairs under the guise of work. But at that point, I didn't even care about that anymore. Knowing he looked down on me and even my family, I couldn't continue this marriage any longer.
Hey, don't joke around.
He approached me with a threatening demeanor, but I stood firm. "I've made up my mind. Now, you just need to sign," I declared. After that, though I thought it would lead to a court case with liars involved, my husband eventually agreed to the divorce quite readily. After presenting the divorce papers, I quickly packed my things and moved to a monthly rental apartment. He must have given up. It's too late for him to regret the words he spoke. My husband clearly insulted me, and not only that, he also undervalued my family. What was said cannot be unsaid, and I didn't give him the chance to retract it. After all, that was his true intention. After the divorce, I worked hard at the job my husband had scorned as low-paying. A few years later, on a Saturday afternoon when the company was closed, I received a call from my former Phil. There hadn't been a chance to discuss with my ex-husband's family due to the sudden divorce. But until that point, I had always been a good daughter-in-law.
Hi, Emily. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, Phil. I was relieved by the cheerfulness in my FIL's voice. Well, I tried to start the conversation, but my Phil interrupted.
I'm sorry about that time. I've heard a lot from my son.
Yes, it seemed my Phil had completely forgiven me for leaving his son.
I think you know the situation, but since then, our company has managed to recover, and my son is now back home helping with the business.
Is that so? Well, that's good to hear at least. Even though it's my ex-husband's family, I didn't wish unhappiness and misfortune on his parents as they weren't to blame. My Phil continued talking.
Well, essentially, after divorcing Emily, he came back to us with his pride hurt. And, well, you might not be interested, but it's about how my son has been.
Yes, I couldn't hang up, so I continued to listen.
He's been quite down since then. After all, he's been rather useless.
What?
I mean, It's weird to talk about my own son like this, but he's had this attitude of I am the son of this company's owner, and he's been alienating the staff. Being the son of the boss who came back from New York, he's been too arrogant and he just lacks charisma.
I see.
He's been acting all high and mighty since he came back suddenly. We're really at a loss with him too.
I can somewhat imagine that. He ridiculed me so much, even though I was his wife. He probably also looked down on the employees of his father's company, considering them just merely his servants. It's been several years since, and he's probably no longer just an employee, but in an executive position, likely making his personality even more twisted and unmanageable. I see.
We've caused you a lot of trouble. Well, Emily, it's odd for me to say this, but I wish you happiness. My son has been quite troublesome.
Not at all. Please take care, Phil. After the call, I felt relieved that my FIL's company was doing well, and briefly imagined what my ex-husband might be like now. But that was just for a minute or two, because right after that, I got a text message from my current boyfriend.
I've decided on the place for tonight's date. Here it is.
The text message had a link to an upscale sushi restaurant. Got it? So, 6 p.m. then. After replying, I started choosing my outfit for tonight's date. Since then, I've worked hard, been promoted, and uncommonly for my company, I became a female department head. My annual income has significantly increased, enough to live comfortably on my own. My savings have grown steadily, and I even bought a new car for my parents. My sister also found a good person, married, and is living happily in our hometown. Currently, I'm in a good relationship with a man I met through work, with marriage in mind. Both of us, raised in what you'd call normal families. He is a kind-hearted and a wonderful man.